Samsung has changed things up this year. Instead of a QD-OLED panel with a glossy coating, the S90H uses a WOLED panel with a matte coating. Hi, I'm Ben from RTINGS.com, and today we're looking at the main differences between last year's S90F and this year's S90H. Many people are disappointed in Samsung's decision to switch the panel type and screen coating with the newer model, since the S90F's QD-OLED panel provides better colors. However, the S90H is an interesting option if you're looking for an OLED for a bright room. We'll be pitting many TVs against each other, so be sure to subscribe if you want to see more TVs battle it out. Last year's S90F is available in a wide range of sizes, but only the 55, 65, and 77-inch sizes have a QD-OLED panel. Even then, this varies depending on your region. It's also available in 42, 48, and 83-inch sizes, but those have always been WOLEDs instead of QD-OLEDs. In North America, the Samsung S90H uses a standard WOLED panel in all sizes except for the 48 and 77-inch models. Those two sizes use LG's RGB tandem panel instead. In other regions, some sizes of the S90H still use a QD-OLED panel, but our results aren't valid for those. For this video, we'll be comparing the WOLED version of the S90H against the QD-OLED version of the S90F. TVs generally look their best in dark rooms, since you don't have to worry about ambient lighting impacting image quality and causing reflections. Even though these two TVs use different types of panels, they're still OLEDs. That means both display inky blacks with no haloing around highlights or subtitles. The big difference between them comes down to color volume. In SDR, the two TVs are similar, with both of them covering about 98% of the DCI-P3 color space. However, the S90F covers about 9% more of the super-wide BT2020 color space. In practice, the difference is negligible, since barely any SDR content actually utilizes that color space. The difference is more noticeable in HDR content. Although the S90H has solid HDR color volume, covering 88% of the commonly used DCI-P3 color space at 1000 nits, it can't match the S90F's ability to display super bright colors without washing out. You get nearly full coverage of the DCI-P3 color space at 1000 nits with the S90F, which means it can display the full range of colors in the majority of HDR content. The S90F is also noticeably brighter in HDR. The S90F peaks at just under 1630 nits with a 2% window. On the other hand, the S90H peaks at just over 1480 nits. The S90H is brighter with larger window sizes, but that doesn't really translate into real scenes. With our hallway light scene, the S90F reaches 1026 nits while the S90H reaches 800 nits, and that 226 nit difference is noticeable. The S90F is also 57 nits brighter with our yellow skyscraper scene and 110 nits brighter with our landscape pool scene. Interestingly, the S90H pulls ahead in SDR brightness. The biggest difference is that with a 50% window, where the S90H is about 200 nits brighter. With our real scene SDR test, the S90H is just over 90 nits brighter, which comes in handy if you're in a bright room. Even though the S90H is brighter, the biggest difference maker in bright room performance is its matte screen coating. If for some reason you wanted to shine a spotlight at the S90H's screen, you'd barely see its reflection. The S90F does have great reflection handling, especially for a glossy screen coating, but if you're in a room with lamps or a window facing your TV, the S90H is the easy winner. QD-OLEDs are known for their raised blacks in a bright room since they lack a polarizer, and this is certainly the case with the S90F. In a room with ambient lighting, not only do blacks look more like charcoal, but they also have a bit of a purple tint. Blacks are raised on the S90H too, but not to the same degree, and they still look very deep. It's not even close, and the S90H avoids looking washed out and flat. The S90H also does a better job retaining its color saturation in a bright room. Low luminance colors do lose some noticeable saturation, but they aren't as affected by ambient light as they are on the S90F. However, since the S90F has more vibrant colors to begin with, it's still the more colorful TV in a bright room, despite the bigger drop in perceived color volume. Both TVs offer a very similar gaming performance. Since they're both OLEDs, they both have lightning-fast response times for top-tier motion clarity. The two TVs each have 4 HDMI 2.1 ports and essentially the same amount of input lag as well. The one advantage the S90H has is its support for 165Hz instead of the 144Hz maximum on the S90F. It's not a massive difference, but some PC gamers could put that slightly higher refresh rate to good use. All OLEDs offer a wide viewing angle, but there is a bit of a difference here. The S90F has about as perfect a viewing angle as you can get. The S90H is still very suitable for wide seating arrangements, but it does have a bit of a green tint that becomes more noticeable the further you move it off center. If you're in a very large room with seating that's off to the sides of the screen, the S90F has the edge. In terms of pure image quality in ideal viewing conditions, the S90F is the clear winner. However, the S90H is a unique OLED that performs great in a bright room since its matte screen coating nearly eliminates reflections and its WOLED panel doesn't suffer from as much black level rays. You should ultimately make your decision between the two TVs based on whether you care more about bright room or dark room performance. Do you think Samsung dropped the ball with their choice to use a matte coating and WOLED panel in this year's S90, or are you happy with the improved bright room performance? Let us know in the comments, or join our Discord. We've got one of the best communities of home theater enthusiasts on the planet.